Well, let's stay with that story then. The pipeline that caught fire belongs to one of Transnet's divisions. The company says it has been experiencing increased theft levels. I'm joined now by Saret Knoetze, who is Transnet spokesperson. Saret, good afternoon. Thank you for joining me. So before we get to some of the reasons, perhaps, for the situation with the fire, the pipeline fire, tell me about where we are at the moment in trying to suppress the fire and also your assessment of what damage has been caused by it.
Good afternoon. The fire is under control. We've managed to suppress the main source of the fire. Just a correction that it's on a section of the pipeline that's currently non-operational. It is the petrol pipeline which was tampered with, which resulted in a spillage and a fire. And the aviation turbine fuel pipeline, which runs parallel, was not damaged at all by the fire.
All right, that's a critical clarification there, Saret. So you are saying to us it's not the jetline fuel pipeline as that spokesperson was saying in that clip we just played. It's actually the petrol pipeline.
Yes, but it's one that's currently not in operation and it's being decommissioned, but it still has petrol in it that was tampered with that resulted in the spillage and the fire. So it was petrol that caught alight.
It was non-functional even before this incident. It's not been rendered non-functional by the incident.
Yes, it was non-functional before the incident. We're in the EIA process of decommissioning it and taking all the product out of that pipeline. It's a redundant piece of pipeline at the moment. It was replaced by a new section of pipeline called the new multi-product pipeline servicing Gauteng.
And I want to talk about the tampering that you say took place, but I have to ask you if it was in the process of being decommissioned, how much fuel did it have, and is it standard practice for a pipeline that's being decommissioned to continue to have fuel? Doesn't that pose risks?
No, it's standard practice. We're following an EIA process, keep it under very low pressure, and then we follow the EIA process of how to drain, how to decommission, how to take all the product out, which is what we're currently busy with.
All right, so talk to me about this tampering situation. What exactly happened?
It was an attempted theft in the block valve, which is currently under investigation by the various law enforcement agencies.
So this is what triggered the fire, the fire on that pipeline?
Yes, it's an inherent danger of tampering with a high-pressure petroleum pipeline and the nature of tampering with petrol. So that's what caused the incident.
But you just said, Saret, that it was low pressure because you're decommissioning.
Yes, but the pipeline was under low pressure. But if you tamper with a pipeline, there are risks involved with it.
Right. Is this a problem that you've been encountering quite a bit in the last while? And just tell me about the extent of the problem.
We've had quite a few theft incidents along the pipeline in the last few months. We've had some successes in our quest to end the tampering. We've made some arrests. But we're still working with law enforcement agencies to really get to the people that are responsible for this.
So the fact that it's been going on for a few months suggests to me that there have been instances where the theft was successful.
Yes.
And what are the options you have by way of trying to secure this pipeline until you completely decommission it?
We do regular patrols along the pipeline. We have, just to say that there's more than one pipeline under Transnet pipeline umbrella. And we do regular patrols for the pipelines. We do helicopter patrols, foot patrols, everything possible to safeguard the pipeline. But unfortunately, incidents still occur. So our appeal is to residents in the area to sort of report any suspicious activities and to work with us when they see a bakkie or a fuel tanker in the veld that's not supposed to be in that area.
Geez, Saret, you mentioned a fuel tanker. Are these the types of vehicles that are used in some of this theft? It says, I mean, that would suggest that it's on a bigger scale. I mean, when we were talking about tampering, I must tell you that I was just thinking about a man with a bakkie and perhaps, a couple of 20-liter containers, but you're talking fuel tankers.
Correct. It is on a bigger scam, and that is what we're working with the law enforcement agencies to try and solve.
Wow. How long still, Saret, before you successfully decommission this pipeline?
It's being done in sections. Certain sections have already been completed on this Durban-Johannesburg pipeline, and the whole entire section that has to be completed will probably be by next year.
All right. Lastly, if you are able to talk to me about the likely impact of this, is there any likely impact in as far as the fuel supply situation is concerned?
No impact on fuel supply because, as I said, this pipeline was not operational, and the current fuel supply to the Gauteng market area is via our new multi-product pipeline.
All right, thank you so much for that. That is Saret Knoetze, who is the Transnet spokesperson, talking to us about a phenomenon that not many of us would have known about, the theft from some of Transnet's pipelines, certainly by various people. She says it's on a large scale that people do try to tamper with the pipelines, and this is what they are pinpointing as the likely cause of this morning's fire at a pipeline, at a section of the pipeline in Alberton.